What's up, everybody? This is Tyler. We're going to do a 6-month review of an ultimate survival gun, the Truck 22 from Desert Tech. So stick with me. Okay, guys, we're back. So 6 months ago, actually 7 or 8 months ago, I got this prototype stock, and it's more than a stock. It's a bullpup conversion, but I got this stock from Desert Tech. It's the Truck 22. They gave it to me to demo. I bought the 1022 inside of it. I bought all the components on it, and I reached out to them to see if I could demo this. This is something I've always been interested in. I really like bullpups. Bullpups basically take a rifle and make it substantially shorter. And when I was in Afghanistan getting in and out of vehicles and messing with AMRAPs and stuff, we had different upper receivers for mount stuff that we could use, and we have different upper receivers for long range stuff. So basically we could swap out the tops of our M4s depending upon what we were doing, and I really liked the shorty M4s, and basically because like you can stick it down between your seat and the console. You can, you know, get it up on top of a dashboard. I worked in law enforcement for a long time, so I see the value of being able to put a short M4 up on top of a steering wheel, shoot through the window, and that kind of things. And room clearing and a multitude of other things, it's really nice to have a short weapon system. I have the 1022 backpacker takedown rifle. I love that rifle, but it kind of loses zero just a little bit every time you detach it and put it away. So essentially, if I have to re-zero it every time I put it back together, that's not a very positive thing. And this has a full length 16-inch barrel on the inside of it. If you can imagine, the trigger system for the 1022 is right here. So right there is your 1022, right? And you just push all that system forward, and it's all contained within the bullpup setup. Now, one of the main positives is I can put a full-length barrel in what I would call an SBR length gun. Now, the negatives that people talk about on the regular are the trigger system. The Desert Tech, the other guns that I've messed with, they don't quite have the trigger problems. This is a good trigger. It's not a great trigger. And it's the normal trigger that you get with your 1022, which is located right here behind this plastic. And there's basically the additional trigger mechanism that's added inside of the bullpup system. So I have the trigger, and then there's a bar that comes back and moves the actual trigger system. So it's a little bit of a spongy trigger, but it's not like this is a long distance precision weapon. I mean, what are you going to be shooting at under 100 meters with a 22 anyway? So there was a couple questions on the last review that we did about, can it take a suppressor? Yes, it can. There was questions about the modularity and a few of those things. So let me address that. Noisy birds. So if we start at the top, I've got a Silencer Co. Sparrow. So if we start at the top, I have a Silencer Co. Sparrow. This is a demo Sparrow they sent to me as a demo can. I really like the Silencer Co. 22 Sparrow because I can shoot the gun without hearing protection, right? Most suppressors, silencers, They decrease and change the sound substantially, but don't make it so quiet that you can actually go without hearing protection. 22 suppressors do. You lose hearing, you can get hearing damage at about 120 dBi, and you can get hearing damage at about 120 decibels. You can get hearing damage at 85 decibels if it's constant over the course of about 8 hours. And this suppressor takes it down to about 100 to 112 decibels, depending on what round you're running through it. Like if you're running a subsonic, it's well below that. If you're running your average 1,000-ish foot per second rounds, it'll take it down to about 112 decibels. So it's not exactly super quiet, but it is below the threshold for hearing damage, and that's super important for me. Another thing when it comes to having a suppressor that I like on a gun like this is if I was in a legit survival situation and I was trying to take multiple game, maybe I'm shooting at multiple birds, maybe I'm shooting at multiple whatever, it's nice to be able to hit the first one, adjust, and hit the second one before all of them get away. It gives you the ability to get a couple rounds on multiple targets fast because they can't hear it. Another really highly valuable thing is I'm on my property right now. There are property owners around me, and it's nice to be able to go out here and shoot a squirrel if I want without messing with the neighbors. And you can kind of get the work done without the neighbors knowing. So the suppressor is a must-have, in my opinion, if you have the ability to get one. Okay, moving forward, this grip. Now, there's a full Picatinny rail on the Trek 22 that gives me the ability to either put a forward-mounted pistol-type glass, a red dot like I have here, a multiple power scope, whatever that I want to do. Because this is a 22, I have the red dot scope on it. Gives me the ability to double eye acquire the target, and then just go from looking at the thing I'm hunting for, push my cheek down, and now I've got a red dot on the thing I'm hunting for. I can still use both eyes open, looking for whatever I'm trying to shoot. Maybe it's a bird or a squirrel or whatever. I can acquire quick, look, and drop around on it. So the reason I like that in a red dot is because when I was using LCANs in the military, they have a very large field of view. You can acquire targets fast, and that's positive when it comes to getting a lot of meat and a lot of food. Okay, the grip. It's kind of interesting. In Afghanistan in the early days, we had that vertical foregrip. All right, everyone knows about that foregrip, and it was kind of like this big, wobbly, unstable thing that really wasn't valuable to anybody, right? So people started kind of gripping the foregrip high, and then the next iteration was a short foregrip that you kind of just grip high and cant your hand on. And then eventually we went away from those and got a hold of one of these grips. And the main reason that we're using this, and it's a Magpul, I don't remember the name of it, I'm going to call it the triangle grip. The main reason that we're using this triangular grip is because you can C-clamp it or thumbs forward clamp it, and that was primarily a fully automatic weapon system technique. But if your brain's programmed to one thing, why would you change it when you come to a semi-automatic platform, right? So the reason I like this grip for this platform specifically is I can point my thumb at a majority of things and still point at it, right? So when I thumb grip this and I point at it, I'm basically where I need to be already, right? So it gives me an instinctive ability to get on target and then just drop down and have my red dot. That way I can focus on the target with both eyes, instinctively point at the target, and then when I need precision, just put my head down a little bit, okay? A little backstory on this, that C grip come from one of two different places. One of them is competition shooting, and they would basically clamp and go left to right, ding, 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 and hit all of their targets. Another is to hold the muzzle down on a fully automatic weapon. When you're shooting something in fully automatic, full auto, you have muzzle rise that you need to be able to tame or it just gets away from you. And if you're able to just drop, lock your elbow, hold it down right here, you have leverage against the muzzle rise, and it gives you the ability to go full auto on target, and drop all your rounds with a little amount of recoil. Now, The 22 has a low amount of recoil anyway, but the transference from using this technique from fully automatic weapon to using this technique with a pistol like this is the ability to hit the first round and have almost no sight alignment change, almost no movement, right? So if I throw a round over here, okay, I'm gonna pick that cactus over there on the ground, and I'm looking at it, basically didn't even move, right? It's got so much lead weight of my hand holding it down that I can just drop round after round after round without changing my sight picture. That's why I do this. Okay, that was a big complicated answer, but we're gonna move forward. All right, you have lock slots that you can add other things that you want, maybe a bipod mount, a bipod themselves, whatever you want to add to it, lights and so forth. So there's some modularity in the front that gives you options, whatever you're into, that's cool. The angle grip. A lot of people I've seen online were complaining about the grip angle. I don't really know why. It's very akin to a hunting rifle, like the old school, you know, what you grew up killing squirrels with, hunting rifle. So that's nice because you can hold it at that hunting rifle angle and then still just suck up and come on target. I asked them basically about the angle, like why people were complaining about it and what their feedback was at Desert Tech, and they basically told me it was so that they could put the large capacity magazines in it. That makes sense. I've had zero issues with the grip angle, right? The grip angle's fine to me. It feels right. It's basically taking the grip angle from what I'm used to and sucking it up just a little bit more, which is okay, because if you're sucking the weapon system up into your shoulder a little tighter, it's gonna be more stable anyway. So I don't have any problems with that. If that's something you've got an issue with, like, that's fine. I don't know if I mentioned this last time. This is a quick disconnect for a sling, should you choose it. This gun is so light, it's lighter than my backpacker takedown. So I basically just, you know, walk with it, carry it, muzzle down as I'm cruising through the bushes, or I strap it to a backpack. So I haven't really added a sling to it, but if you want to add a sling, it's available. In the butt, I don't know if I mentioned this in the stock in the prior review because I had someone ask me about it yesterday. Yes, there are magazines that you can add. You know, the standard Ruger 22 magazines will fit right there. So I just throw a couple of them in the stock. It's nice to have a little backup because the reality is I've got everything I need right here, right? I've got the full 25 round mags. I got another 20 rounds right there. So that's 45 rounds, and that's more than enough to go squirrel hunting. Or if I really need to add more ammunition, I'll just grab a box of shells, or I like to take a small Gatorade bottle that's dry, load it up with 22s, stick it in my pocket, and then I've got more than enough ammunition that I need to go hunting and do what I need to do. Okay, so top to bottom, yes, it takes a suppressor. No, I'm not gonna shoot my thumb off. If you run your thumb in alignment right here, yes, it can touch the suppressor. The suppressors get hot, but not that hot when compared to like a rim fire. These center fires warm up a little bit. I just shot it 2 or 3 times. It's cold to the touch. Suppressors do use friction to slow down the air release and make it quiet, so they get really hot, like burning flesh hot, but only if you're running a lot of ammunition through them fast. So it's a non-issue. Clearly, if you are running this bullpup system and you're not accustomed to gripping it appropriately, yeah, you got to watch out for where your thumb is. So I think that's all the questions that were asked. One thing that you do have to learn to transition to when you're running a bullpup system, and I have to do this, is your safety's not right here, right? So I'm used to having the safety right there. You pull it and then squeeze my trigger, right? So the takeaway from that is arguably all weapon systems should be held consistently by the dominant hand. So if my dominant hand is my right hand, I'm right-handed, I should operate everything else with my left hand, right? I should never remove my right hand from this position unless I'm switching sides to shoot around corners, doing some CQB. There's always exceptions to every rule. But in this instance, I want to run everything with my right hand. So with my left hand, I'll just come down here. There's my safeties, right? I can rack it like this should I need to. I've got my mag release. Let me turn so you can see that again. So my safeties are right here. Fire, safe, mag release. Just like when you run an AK, if you tilt it this way and slap it that way, you're able to get your action, manipulate your action. The reason I like to do that is if I do have a fail to feed or some sort of a round failure and I rack it this way, gravity helps me to get those 22s out. It's almost inevitable that, you know, 22s are gonna, you get a soft strike that doesn't go off, or you get a double feed or whatever. And you can just pop that out, rack it a couple times, pop it back in, and do your failure drills. So there is a little bit of a brain reprogramming transition when you go from a normal rifle to a bullpup, and that I just showed you is how I deal with it. Keep your right hand on it, manipulate everything with your left. Okay, other than that, it retains 0. It's very accurate. This scope specifically, I've bonked a couple times, thrown it around my truck, and it doesn't always retain 0. When that happens, I just pop my knife out and give it a notch or two. You know, like you can pick a good example of that. Let me show you a good example of that. So if you're in the backcountry and you want to just, you know, field 0, this is a horrible way to do this, but if you want to just do a field 0, you're going to pick something on the ground, something to shoot at. Right there in the sunlight to the right of the tree is a little tuft of plant of some sort, right? And that's at about the distance that I'm probably going to shoot squirrels at. So if I want to take this, breaking my own rule, taking my right hand off. If I want to take this and I want to 0 it, I'm going to send it around to that little tuft. It was high and right again, okay? So that means I need to go down and left just a little bit. So to the left is up, so I'm going to go down. Should be using a penny with this. And left. To counterclockwise is right. I want to go left, so I need to go clockwise. Okay? We're just going to kind of Kentucky windage it a little bit. Well, I pulled that one. Okay, still hitting a little bit high and to the right. So let's move it to the left still. And drop it down a little bit. And a quick note, if you are switching ammunition, like if you're switching from 1,000-something foot per second normal ammunition to stingers or something, you're going to see the stingers shooting a lot higher. So if you're going to 0, be consistent with your ammunition. If you just have random ammunition, understand that when you switch FPS or foot per second in your ammunition, the faster it is, the higher it's going to go at a short distance, the slower it is, the further it's going to go down. As an example, if you're running quiets through a suppressor like this, they drop substantially and they don't always cycle. Hitting it good. Okay, a little low, so I want to come up just a little bit. May have gone down too far. One notch. Okay, we're hitting where I want to hit. So the last thing I want to mention, because I'm thinking about it, whenever you're running a bullpup, they're always back heavy, and that's kind of nice because you can hold it like this without any front weight and still consistently make your shots, right? So I just want to kind of relax here for a second. Hit it. High because I pulled it. If I want to lock it down, we're golden. Okay. I still think the 22 is an ultimate round. Super lightweight. You've got a ton of options and speed that will change the sound, and you've got the ability to be super quiet. You don't need to worry about hearing protection. And the only real viable argument, it's not even warm yet. The only real viable argument against the 22 is it doesn't always hit very hard, to which I say, well, send another round. The pro and the reality is when you're in the backcountry and you're trying to eat off the land, the majority of the game that you're going to see is going to be squirrels, birds, those types of things. And with the right shot placement, you can take down large game. And again, if the first bullet doesn't work, send another one. Continue to drop rounds in the animal until it goes down. Okay, guys, hopefully that's valuable to you. Oh, one more thing. There were some complaints about the price. I get it. It's about the same price as the gun. I understand that. Last I checked, your basic 1022 is about 400 bucks ish. This stock bullpup conversion kit's about $300. It is a stock. It is also a conversion kit. There's trigger mechanisms and there's more to this than just the stock. If it's out of your price range, don't get it. If it's in your price range, grab one. They're awesome. That's kind of the way I look at that one. So, okay, leave your comments down. Tell me what you think about 22s being the ultimate survival gun, the ultimate survival round. I really like 22s. I think they're phenomenal. What do you think about that? Tell me what you think about this Desert Tech Trek 22 and suppressors and the way that I have set up my ideal survival gun. And we'll check you out in the comments. As always, thank you for watching.